Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Mark's Gospel, and we're in chapter 8 at the moment, up to verse 14. This is the leaven of the Pharisees and Herod, and you'll see that it's also in Matthew's Gospel. Kai ep elathonta labain artus. Now this is from epilanthanamai. Epilanthanamai, this is the aorist middle. And epilanthanamai is to forget. So they forgot, labain, aorist infinitive from lambano, they forgot to take bread. Kai eme hena arton, and except for one arton, one loaf of bread, uk akon, imperfect from echo, they did not have it any bread understood, meth hiauton, with themselves in the boat. So they didn't have any, apart from one loaf, they didn't have any bread in the boat. Kai dia stelleta, and this is the same verb we've had before. He gave strict orders from dia stello, dia stellamai, probably in the middle here. He gave strict orders, he instructed them. Change page here. He gave instructions to them, legon, saying, see, imperative from horao, and we get a sort of a repeat here, because both of these verbs mean look, except that here this blepete apo, and you'll see this variant readings as well, this is probably meant to take this together as to beware of. So look, beware of the tsume, the leaven, this is the yeast or leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod. In rabbinic thought, leaven was a metaphor for human beings' evil tendency, that it starts out small and then increases, causes the bread to rise, and this leaven is the tendencies in human beings for doing bad things, and if you're not careful of the leaven, then it will expand and do damage. Kai dialogidzonto, and they were debating pros elelus among themselves that they do not have any bread. So they're confusing Jesus. Jesus is talking about something totally different, but they're fussing around because they've got no bread, and they think Jesus is referring to bread, when he's referring, of course, to something quite different. Kai gnus, this is the aorist participle from ginosko, and having known, having realized, he says to them, historic present, te dialogidzes there, why do you debate? Why do you discuss that you do not have artus, loaves of bread? Upo noete, do you not yet understand? Nor, well, this is again just both these words mean roughly the same thing. Do you not realize, and do you not understand? This is from noeo, contracted epsilon verb, and this is from sun hiemi, to understand. So do you not realize and do you not understand? Again, the question, do you have your heart? This is typical Septuagint language. It's the heart of you, singular and then plural. So do you have your heart pepperomenein? This is a perfect passive participle from po oro. It's a contracted verb, so the o lengthens to an omega. You've got a reduplication, and this is a participle, and it's feminine. It's agreeing with heart. So it's literally, do you lot not have a hardened heart? So are your hearts so hardened? You might translate it as. And having eyes you do not see, and having ota ears you do not hear. Do you not hear? So it's a question. So yeah, so having eyes do you not see, and having ears do you not hear? And do you not mnemonuete, remember? This is one of the verbs of remembering. Hote, when, tus pente artus eklasa. This is eris from klasdo, to break. So when I broke the 5 loaves among the 5,000, so this is, do you not remember when I did all this? How many koffinus, how many baskets, how many full baskets of scraps, plasmaton, erate, you lifted up. So you took up. So do you not remember that when I broke the 5 loaves among the 5,000, how many full baskets of scraps you took up? And they said to him, Dodeca, 12. And again, following on, do you not remember, understood, when? And you've got to understand again, eklasa from here. So when I broke the 7 artus loaves, you've got to just add that in from earlier. It's literally when the 7. So when I divided up the 7 loaves among the 4,000, how many literally fillings of baskets of scraps you took up? So how many full baskets of scraps you took up? This is from iro, of course. This erata is from iro, to lift. This is the aorist, kai legusin, and they said to him, heptar, 7. And he said to them, do you not yet understand? Again, from sun hiemi here. So the next little section is this healing of the blind man, and this is very similar to the wording and what we see in chapter 7, verses 31 to 7, and this bit is not found in Matthew or Luke. They presumably thought it was a repeat of the earlier story. And he went into Bethsaida, and they bring historic present to him a tuphlos, a blind man, and they exhort or beg him in order that he might touch him. This is from haptomai. This is the subjunctive. There is subjunctive from haptomai, that they might touch him. Kai epilabomenos, and taking hold of the hand of the blind man. This is from epilambanamai, to take hold of, and it takes a genitive. So taking hold of the hand of the blind man, this is from ekphero, the aorist, strong aorist from ekphero. He carried him outside of the village, kai ptusas, having spat into his eyes, and having placed upon him his hands on him. This is from epitithemi, and it's taken a dative. So having placed the hands on him, he began to ask him. Now the A is, ask him if you see anything. So he would have asked him, do you see anything? And in reported speech it would be, tell me if you see something. So we've got to understand some verb of saying here. So he asked him, tell me if you see something. And having looked up, he said, blepo, I see men. Now the hoti and the the horo are awkward here, and possibly some mistranslation from the Aramaic. They're not present in some manuscripts, so they're kind of difficult to translate. So I see men keeping the horo. I see them, peripatuntes, participle from peripatio, walking around hos dendra, like trees. So you could keep the hoti and you have to add in something like, I tell you that I see men walking around like trees. That might get the hoti in. Ater, then once again, epitheken, from epitithemi, he placed his hands on his eyes, and he diablepsen, he regained his sight from diablepo, kai ab kateste. Notice this has got a double augment. There's an augment that's epi plus kata plus histemi. It means to restore, so he was restored, but it's got an augment here and another augment in there. It's a double augment. It's just an odd form here. And he saw hapanta, for panta, all things tel algos. This simply means clearly. This is a classical word, but it's fairly poetic. The tele means from afar, and the alga root here is of brightness. So it's just really, by this stage, the word just means clearly. So he saw all things clearly, and he sent, this is Jesus, sent him into his house, saying, do not enter into the village. And again, there's variant readings here. You can have a look in your own text.